everybody, welcome to our Q&R series where we're taking kids and families' questions, whether they're about God, about Bible stuff, or the world that we live in and what's going on around us, or maybe you just want to know more about me and my family. We're going to do our best to respond to all of those things, knowing that the answers probably won't be perfect, but hopefully we will have a chance to grow in wisdom and understanding and to have some really good conversations together. This is how it'll work though. Before I tell you what I think, after you hear the questions, I want you guys to pause and talk about it at home. So kids talk first, grown-ups share next, have some good conversation, and then you can check out my response after that. Now if you're ready, let's hear the first question.
What is God's name?
Our questions today all have to do with names, funny enough. And the first question, what is God's name, is a really interesting one. If you're asking that question, you probably have realized that God, G-O-D, isn't God's name. God is more like what God is, which is the greatest of the spiritual beings in existence. There's only one capital G-O-D, God, but God is the greatest of the spiritual beings. But that's not his name. God does have a proper name. Just like my name is Rhett, and your name might be Greta or Cameron or whoever you are. God's name comes from the language of Hebrew, and it is Yahweh. Can you guys say Yahweh? Yahweh is a Hebrew name which basically means I am. And that is how God let people know who he was. That's the name that he gave to people like Moses or Abraham. So if you want to call God by his name, then you can call him Yahweh. But you might wonder, how come I don't see Yahweh written down in the Bible? I don't ever remember seeing that. Well, something really interesting is that there was a tradition that developed over time to replace the name Yahweh when writing out the Bible to instead say Lord with all capital, L-O-R-D, Lord, in all uppercase letters, and to use that instead of God's name, because the people writing out the Bible respected God's name so much, and they wanted to honor it and not accidentally misspell it or say it the wrong way. And so instead of having the chance of doing that, they would just say Lord. So your assignment for later is to flip through the Old Testament, any of those first books of the Bible, and see if you can find a capital L-O-R-D, Lord, and just know that that actually stands in for God's name, which we now know is Yahweh. And as we talk about what God's name is, that gives me a great idea for a game. Game time! Okay, I'm calling this one acroname, which is like acronym with your name. So you're going to take your name, just like I did earlier. R-H-E-T-T spells Rhett, and you're going to come up with some words for each letter of your name that help us understand who you are. So take a moment, pause, grab a pen, paper, or just do it in your head. Spell out your name, come up with some words to describe, and then after your family has had a chance to do that, go ahead and share what you came up with to our Facebook group. We'd love to hear about who you are, what your name is, and what words you came up with to describe yourself. Have fun. Okay, let's get to the next question.
What does Jesus' name mean?
What does Jesus' name mean? Well, that's really interesting. So we talked about the name Yahweh. Now we're going to talk about the name Jesus. It is really cool. Jesus is actually the English form of the Hebrew name Yeshua. You guys say Yeshua? Which is actually another way of saying Joshua, which is a name that we're pretty familiar with in English. And Joshua or Yeshua or Jesus, they all mean the same thing. They mean that Yahweh saves or God saves. Isn't that so cool? Jesus' name is actually tied to his mission, tied to what he did. Yahweh saves or God saves is exactly what Jesus did in coming and living the perfect life and dying for us on the cross and raising again and offering us forgiveness, all those good things. God saved us through Jesus. One more interesting fact is that Jesus' name was actually given to his parents by angels. So Joseph and Mary were told to name Jesus by some angels. Pretty cool, right? These have been some really fun and interesting name questions so far. Let's hear our final question of the day.
What does your name mean? My name's Jovi, and it means joyful.
What does my name mean? Well, a quick internet search was able to reveal to me that the name Rhett is English, and it comes from a Dutch word, actually, that means advice or wise counsel. So hey, maybe that's why I like talking to you guys so much and teaching and that sort of thing. But what does your name mean? That's what I really want to know. So maybe after this, you guys as a family at your house can look up each other's names and figure out what they mean. And then decide, does your name and what it means match up to who you are? I'd love to hear what your name is and what your name means. So go ahead and put those as comments on our Facebook group. We'd love to check them out and learn more about you guys. And I do have a follow-up assignment for you in addition to finding out what your name means, and that is to go to the Bible together at your house and look up the book of Philippians, chapter 2, and read verses 9 and 10 together. Philippians chapter 2, verses 9 and 10, that's in the New Testament. I just want you to read it, think about it, and then talk to each other. What does it teach you about God, about people, about what the name of Jesus means, all that good stuff, and grow together in those conversations. And before we go, just a reminder to stay connected with us, and we are still accepting questions from you, whether they're about God, the world that we live in, anything from the Bible, anything that you're curious about, stuff you want to know about me, anything that you're interested in, we're interested in, and we'll do our best to respond. So send in those questions through our Facebook group or through my email, rhett@calvaryboise.com. Grown-ups, help the kids send the questions my way, and you might hear your question answered in one of the upcoming episodes. That's it for this week. Love you all. Have a great week. I'll see you next time.